ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another fantastic weekend of Formula One racing here on the EGL Extreme Gaming League. I'm Tipsy Bob, and joining me on the mic is my trusty sidekick and my good friend, Dad Pants. Covering all the action today, we're going to be covering everywhere from Monaco, Singapore, Abu Dhabi, and Bahrain, all across the world, all across the country. A full grid lined up some of the best talent around the world. We have plucked them from all corners of the earth to give you some of the greatest racing experience footage you'll ever see in your lifetime. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the EGL. The cars are all lining up on the grid. They're all getting ready. The drivers will be focusing on their first corner. Are they going to take it? What are they going to do? Is it going to go deep? Are they going to go? Who knows? Let's find out. Away we go! DRS is still active, and if Timo wants to get this moved on, he's gonna need to use this DRS zone because I have a feeling. Oh no, Timo, cancel the pressure in the traction zone. My friends to mount up another overtake on 1v3 trademark. This is round 3. Timo cracks under the pressure once again.
And Timo are oh, he hits the pit! Oh no! Oh my god, this so sorry, control myself. So Timo
I won't be gonna so they can stand at the back together again. Just like Timo likes it.
How many times? Did you see how many times Timo tried to get into the pit? Good evening, comrades. Welcome on EGL for round 17 of SLR Tier 4 here in Soviet Union. I mean Russia. My name is Der Hammer, and joining me this evening is my comrade Kebab.
Good evening.
But first,
we can change my name. We should change my name to Sickle for this one. So we've got Hammer and Sickle.
KGB Agent Kebab. But all jokes aside, first let's take a look at the standings. We've still got Definitely Bot leading the championship, but he actually resigned his seat last week because of recurring internet issues he's having after he moved. So unfortunately, that leaves us with Aceboy in the lead of the championship, ahead of Aziroglu and Danny. Aceboy with a pretty hefty lead. I don't know if it's mathematically still possible to catch up, but let's see, 5 or 6 races? Is that possible? I don't know.
25 points a race. I mean, you're talking.
Yeah, it's
Aceboy
something.
has to get 0 points, and he would have to win every one.
Yeah.
So it's going to be difficult. But I think it is still mathematically possible. But
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting end of the season, I suppose, because it's if Definitely Bot's retired, it's almost certain that he won't win the championship
Yeah.
because he won't be picking up any more points, and Ace Boy is so close behind. But we've seen in the past before that Ace Boy is not as dominant here as
No.
Definitely Bot was. So we could see some very interesting races come the end of the season.
Yeah.
And second and third places could still be up for grabs, but Definitely Bot could still well end up in the top 3 in the championship, even not racing the last 5 races.
Yeah, and in the constructors, it's Renault with a 100-point lead on Mercedes and then Haas. Well, even there, a lot is still possible because Williams, Haas, Mercedes are also close. Even Ferrari still has a shot at least second place. So that should be interesting. As we'll now switch to the racing. As we see the drivers on their first laps. I'll switch the standings off. Oop.
Mehmet TV is the first out at the moment, I think. Although that could be a T-Easy in front of him. I'm not sure. Yeah, T-Easy seems to have been in front of him, but he's stopping to let him past. Very nice of him. Knowing that he's on a lap. So I think it's going to be Mehmet TV. He's going to be the first to cross the line on his quick lap. He is on mediums at the moment. We've got a Haas round.
Oh, yeah. He's he's spun on a really... and I think there was a collision into the Haas because I see parts of a wing flying. I think a Renault went into a Haas, or somebody did. As Travel Linden sets provisional pole, Boosters Mess was held up by that Haas and set a 134. Was it the Renault though?
I'm not sure. It looked as though it was Lepson who was having the difficulties there. Maybe just lost traction there out of that tight chicane in the third sector. I'll be honest with you again. I forgot to learn any of the corner names.
Yeah, I did. Corner 1 to corner 20. Yes, comrade. That's yeah.
So got Trevor Linden in pole at the moment with a 131.6. Not really sure what kind of times we're going to be expecting here in Tier 4, so we'll wait and see how that works out. But I think the strategy here for Russia is an easy, soft, medium.
Yeah, definitely.
Mehmet TV is probably just putting a banker on the mediums, and most people will go for the softs for the qualifying run.
Yeah, as Esikan sets the pole with a 131.5. As for pole times, I don't really know yet because we've only had one race so far in that was on 2S yesterday, where 3 people set out 134, but that was me, Sonny, and I guess Owen. So I'm not sure what to expect in this tier.
You guys are aliens, so yeah, we might not get that so close, but yeah, we'll probably see some low 31s, maybe see somebody get into the high 30s.
I think we might see a 130, as Snelle Henke already sets a 131.2, which is pretty fast for a first run.
Yeah,
so
it is a late first run, so there'll be a bit of rubber down on the track already.
Yeah. So we see Lepson round the final corners. He barely keeps it on track there, as he sets a 133.3, which puts him in P10, which is of course prime position, as we all know.
Yeah. Ocean Chief will be looking to take that off him, I suppose.
Ocean,
P8,
yeah, he outperformed himself.
Let us know in chat, guys, if there's anything wrong with the stream, anything that we can improve on. And also let us know what your predictions are for the race winners and DNFs as well. And
also let us know which accent you prefer, the current Dutch English from me, or English from Kebab, or the Russian accent. We can always be switching with that. As Tosca invalidates and goes back to the pit. And Owen predicts Danny to die first lap. And I have to laugh about that because that's what actually happened yesterday in the 2S race, where Danny indeed died in the first lap. He spun in the sector 3, which is a difficult sector to get right. I mean, the first 2 sectors are plenty of high-speed corners or mid-speed corners, and then the final sector is slow corners, which are pretty. They slide a lot. It reminds you a bit of I guess other street circuits with low grip, like Singapore or Monaco, where you just you just slide, and in race conditions on cold tires that can be a challenge.
Certainly, yeah, especially even if you've overheated them a little bit, going through the fast corners beforehand, because you do put a lot of pressure on the tires, especially the left fronts, as you're going through that first and second sector. yeah, it's a challenging race, Russia, and the walls are very close.
Oh, and Dr. Uter has a big moment and loses it, but continue.
I was going to say, the walls are very close here, so making a mistake can sometimes cost you dearly. Not as bad as Singapore last week, where the walls are even closer still. But it's definitely a track that's prone to safety cars, prone to incident, and things like that. So we're hoping for a very interesting race.
Yeah, I was following some guys around like Max, and he invalidated, and Dr. Uter, and he also invalidated. So that's also a thing in Russia. It's pretty hard to go, or it's pretty easy to go just over the curb and invalidate your lap.
I think it's even worse this year compared to 2019 as well. Last year,
it's definitely more strict. Yeah.
Yeah, you could definitely overtake, cross some of those orange sausage curbs in the last game, and this time if you just put a wheel over one of those and some of those 90-degree right-handers and left-handers in the first sector, it's very easy to pick up penalties. We'll probably find that a few people will be keeping it very clean in the race and not picking up any of those.
Yeah. And Shaka goes off in the same corner as Dr. Ruter and spins around. So yeah, a lot of people struggling here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's some of these corners are very tricky for traction as well, and you've got to carry a lot of speed. So, and if you get the line slightly wrong, or you hit the curb slightly wrong, it can just spit you out. So a stable setup is of utmost importance here, I think.
Yeah, and as I was expecting Ace Boy to come around, and he is now, and he sets a 1:31.7, which it's a decent time, but maybe I expect too much from Ace Boy, and I kind of expected him to go faster, but it's I guess it's a decent banker at least.
Well, I think I've done a lot of commentating and racing in Tier 4 myself, and the thing about Ace Boy is it's his racecraft and his ability to stay clean and race pace that wins him the races, not necessarily always his qualifying pace. But he was always up there near the top. But I'm not too sure myself exactly how many poles he's.
No, I don't know either. Yeah. We miss our stat team for that, I guess.
Owen says in chat that he doesn't think Ace Boy's done much practice for this track.
I think so too. I remember he was also in the race yesterday, and he was kind of there and thereabouts, but not really in the top 3, top 4. As Eversnacks goes very drifting through the final corners and loses all the speed he had. So this probably won't be an improvement as he indeed pits.
Yep, almost makes the fatal mistake, the Timo mistake into the pit entry.
I tell you who's on an improvement though. That's Trevor Linden, who's already a 10th up in his first sector as the Great Lamppost retires, and I think he went into the wall. Yeah, he's off.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah. Also in the same corner that we saw Dr. Uter and Shaka go. So yeah, lots of people struggling today.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate for Lamppost. We had a little conversation. I just gave him a bit of advice, trying to kind of help him improve his cleanliness on track before the race. Just trying to tell him not to overdrive the car. It is difficult.
Yeah, yeah. It's
knowing what to do and doing it is two different things. But we do see this often from the Great Lamppost sometimes, and it's unfortunate. Fingers crossed he can kind of improve a bit in the future, but we see this every week nearly. Lamppost getting a lot of incidents.
But it's like the struggle you have if you start more seriously driving in F1 and you start league racing. You see all these people going pretty fast, especially if you come from single player. And then you want to improve, and then you start to overdrive. Oh, as Trevor Linden sets the fastest lap, by the way, with a 31.2 as well.
Following on board, but that was a very clean lap.
But yeah, as you improve, you do tend to have periods where you start to overdrive that car, like trying to brake later and later and carry more speed into the corners. And I always find that what actually works more is trying to drive more cleanly and go focus more on slow in, fast out. As Max sets a 38. Yeah, that's why I was following Max earlier, because I remember he had a pretty good time yesterday as well, also in the 30s. So yeah, that will be the marker for everyone to beat now, as he's 4 tenths clear. But yeah, continuing on what we were talking about earlier. Yeah, sometimes.
Says, can we please see T-Easy?
Easy. Yeah, we can.
I'd like to see him. He's on his lap at the moment, so we've got Georgia, or Yorgos, as I'm guessing he's probably called in his own country.
I think he just did a cooldown lap, and he's now on a second fast run, or did we just miss it?
Don't know, to be honest. It says he's only on one lap, but sometimes we see...
He's on a lap. He's definitely on a lap because he's improving his first sector time.
Yeah. So it's easy. We've got some predictions here in the chat as well about P1, P2, P3. Owen's going for Ace Boy P1, Chief P2, and Danny in P3. X Crystals going for T Easy in P1, Ace Boy in P2, and Danny in P3. Ace Boy and Danny getting a lot of support here in the chat.
I do expect Ace Boy and Danny to improve, but Max's time is pretty good. That being said, as Ruglo invalidates. So I'll follow.
He'll be coming back in, I guess.
I'll follow the master himself, but he's driving without a wing, Ocean Chief. So that's not gonna be an improvement. As I'm sure it might be faster down the straights, but it certainly isn't in the corners. So yeah, I don't think Daddy Stroll will be happy with that. So to save him more embarrassment, we'll switch to somebody else. It's Aki Palola, which is a new driver actually. He's, I think Iceland knows him from Aloha, which is a pretty well-known Finnish league. And we've given him the chance to drive today. He's currently in P5. So yeah, let's see how he does.
From a new driver, but obviously, as you say, he's from other leagues and things. So tend to see that new drivers coming new to F1 find it extremely difficult to start with. That was the case with me last year when I started driving here. But this is really starting to worry me. I have to say, I've seen, 4 or 5 crashes in qualifying already. Yeah. And I have done no practice for Russia tomorrow. So I am really bricking it now because I'm thinking, yeah. I didn't realise this track was that hard.
Yeah, indeed. And Aki Palola was 3 seconds off the pace. So I'm guessing he did a cooler now. And Danny already invalidated his lap. So Danny will probably take it easy and try again next lap.
We're down to the last 3 minutes of qualifying now, so it's do or die for a lot of people. Shaka still hasn't managed to settle up as he looks like he's coming out of the pits for his final run.
Yeah, I'm following Ace Boy, who is on an improvement and goes very wide into that corner, but somehow doesn't invalidate.
That's the thing with strict corner create. If you lift, you go wide and you lift where you shouldn't lift, kind of thing. It sometimes doesn't invalidate you.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you've already lifted. So sometimes if you do make a mistake, it pays to just take your foot off the throttle, get the car around the corner anyway.
Yeah.
And do it that way, kind of thing. But looks as though we've got a tight field here at the top.
Yeah, definitely a lot of people in the low 32 or mid 31 actually. And Ace Boy is currently also 2/10 up, so he'll be joining that top 5 field. If he doesn't, he actually runs out of ERS and he sets a 31.2. It's very close for P2, P3 and P4.
Yeah. Max 4/10 ahead of them at the moment, so
yeah,
he's got great pace around here. Let's hope that he can keep it together in the race, because he has had issues with incidents in races in the past, particularly when he qualifies really well. He tends to fall down the order pretty quickly, which is unfortunate because he's got the pace there. It's obviously he knows what he needs to work on. Yeah,
but of course in the race you got different things like pressure from behind, or if you get past quickly, pressure to get past, and that's it's different than driving in clean air. As Danny goes really wide and invalidates again, so he'll not improve.
So Danny will be starting quite far down the grid, so podium spot may be out of reach.
Yeah, and Snelle Henke is on a really fast time as well. He's 3/10 up and he's nearly in pole, but misses out on like a 10th or so to Max. P2 for Snelle Henke from Aging Point F1. The oldest team in SLR. And I'm following Till, who's on a light improvement, but doesn't look to be close to SLR or Max this time. So it's looking really great for Max. Unless you...
is, currently kind of dominating the field. 2/10 is a lot at the top of the field, as we can see. Like, not many other people are getting into the 30s here. So it's proven to be a very impressive lap.
No, it's also not as easy to get in the 30s. I remember when I started practicing this track a few weeks ago for another league. At first I was doing 31 mid, so it's a long road to to the 30s. It takes a lot of practicing to refine that. So yeah.
It's one of those tracks where it's very easy to get to a certain level, and then getting beyond that level, it takes a lot of grinding.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true.
So I think we've got T-Easy coming across the line at the moment, but he's just starting a lap. We've got a Ferrari behind.
Yeah, Eziroglu shows a finish flag for me, so he's probably too late. Although it could be the timing glitch, I don't know.
Possibly, but there's some flags there. I'm pretty sure he's finished. So that is a poor qualifying from T-Easy, starting at 13th. Shaka about to cross the line, but he's invalidated, so Shaka won't set a time at all. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, that's like I said, it's and Azikin has a big moment in the final sector. He was on a slight improvement, but it looks unlikely that he'll improve much now as he comes around the final corners to set a 31.6, which is an improvement in time, but not in position.
Chief crosses the line in a second, I think. I know.
Trevor Linden does. Ooh, and Trevor Linden goes really close as well with a 31.1, which is P3. So also a reserve driver who came in last minute. Well, he did well for coming in last minute.
He certainly did, yeah. Tiller's managed to invalidate his lap, so that's his over as well. And I think Dr. Luther's finished his, is coming back in the pit, so maybe...
Ooh, Ocean Chief. Ocean Chief on a major improvement. He's 5 tenths up.
Oh, let's see what he can do as he crosses the final, comes around the final corner here. He goes a little bit wide, but keeps it valid by the looks of things.
Yeah, that's, I think, P6. Yeah, P6 for Ocean Chief. Well done, Ocean.
Yeah, over as well, yeah. Sorry?
I know Ocean did barely any practicing as he was doing skippies in iRacing. So that's a great time with little practice, and it's indeed Max and Paul, and now you can continue.
Yeah, I was going to say Max on Paul there. Great time from him, the only driver to get into the 30s. So excellent stuff from Huff. We've got Schnellhenke, a new driver to the tier, and Trevor Linden in P2 and P3. So it could be a very interesting race. As we've got some new boys here at the top of the field. Aki Palola done very well on his first race here to get 5th. So yeah, great to see these new boys coming in and immediately making a mark. It's unusual, but it's supposed to be expected from drivers who have raced in other tiers. Because Schnellhenke, I do know from DMR, he races with no assists, and he's pretty quick in that no assist tier. But we have a lot of rain here by the looks of things.
Oh, it's a rain race.
This
wow.
is going to be very interesting. Is this why people were having struggles in the qualifying? Because I
guess, yeah.
Setup changes in and things like that. Because if you change your setup even the slightest bit, it can ruin it.
Oh yeah, but with more rings, this definitely changes your times in qualifying, which I suppose they did. So yeah, it's a wet race. I wonder what the DNF prediction is going to be.
That's certainly going to change from my perspective. I am honestly, I'm going to have a quick look through the drivers and count the ones who I think are going to crash. So I am going to go with 4 DNF.
4 DNFs it is. I don't know if it's it looks like inter conditions. Yeah, there's the green tires.
Yeah. So everybody's going to be starting on those. It'll be interesting to hear from anybody in chat. If anybody's crew chiefing in chat, how long the rain is expected to last for the whole race. If it's going to dry up, because that always becomes interesting. Because when conditions change like that, from wet to dry, it becomes very difficult to find your limit and drive at the limit. So you find some are better than others at that.
Yeah.
But cleanliness becomes the most important thing here. Because Max seems to be away on his formation lap.
Yeah, he's not just warming the tires, he's flying away. He's escaping the field. Yeah. Max, this is the formation lap. This is not the actual race start. Putin will call you back if you go too fast, yes?
Yeah, he definitely wants to get a head start here, but obviously that means if he gets to the line first and nobody's caught up with him, then his tyres are going to cool down while he's sitting on the grid, and nobody else's is, so he's going to be at a disadvantage here.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the run down to turn 1 here at Russia is very long.
Yeah, definitely.
Isn't necessarily the best place
No,
to start.
no, I actually, this is a kind of a humble brag. I started on pole here in 2 leagues, and in both leagues I lost the lead like halfway the straight. So it's not a really great starting spot here. So he's gonna definitely have difficulties keeping that P1. Although maybe the wet start might actually help him. Because I know for sure in a dry start you'll have a hard time keeping that P1 spot. As Sonny says.
The slipstream and the length of the driver in front is really cutting through the air, whereas everybody else has got the slipstream across behind them. So they're all going to still get that advantage even in the wet.
As
Makes a big difference in the start, with the traction that you get in the start, how well you can get away. So some drivers are going to be better than that than others. And obviously this is an assist here. So some drivers will have traction control.
and some will, yeah, as Sonny says, I will cry in a corner if tier 2 is wet. Yeah, I got you there, Sonny. I also have no pace in the wet. It's a different breed of rider that's good there. So yeah. I wonder who's the wet specialist in this field. As,
Jackson in last place at the moment. He must have got a grid penalty for those incidents at the start of qualifying because he was not last on the grid. He did set a time. He was the last car to form up on the grid. Now I'll let you take the race start away.
Yeah.
Control the screen, and I'll keep an eye on the back. But the start, the front should be very interesting.
Yeah, and the lights are already on. And away we... Oh, Asakin gets a drive-through for a jump start, and away we are now. As I think Max is off to a great start, but Trevor Linden also has a really good getaway. And Trevor Linden goes round the outside of Snelle Henke. And they're both really close now. As Snelle Henke brakes really late, but Max keeps the lead, and there's a bit of they're 3 wide there with Ace Boy. Oh, and Snelle Henke's in the middle and gets barged to the outside, and they're heading to the next corner with Snelle Henke on the inside of Trevor Linden now. Ooh, and he dangerously cuts in, but I think it's just safe as he goes wide again. And it looks like, oh, there's a Haas off in the back. That's Eversnacks. That's Eversnacks who's off, and I see some wing damage here and there.
Definitely got a lot of wing damage there.
As the great Lampros also didn't have a great start. So there's that.
So it looks like Lampros has got some damage to his wing as well. So yeah, recovery drive from both of those, but
As a safety car.
A safety car.
Yeah.
Okay, so that must be a Renault at the back.
No, that's a safety car. It's also yellow.
Okay.
Also, I don't know why, but your mic is suddenly picking up some static. I don't know if you noticed.
I'm not pretty sure why.
As I'll continue talking, as I saw somebody, I think it was the great Lampros who got a penalty for speeding under the safety car.
Yep. So Ezigan and Great Lampros both have drive-through, so not going well for them from the start.
Nope. Your mic is fine again, so that seems to be fixed.
Not sure what happened there. It must be the headset. I need a new one.
What is it with every one of my co-commentators' headsets breaking? First it was Bailey, now it is you.
Yeah.
Actually, this is the reason I bought, the studio microphone, like a separate one, because I had like 3 or 4 headsets where my microphone broke or had issues. I got so tired of it, I was like, okay, I'm done with this.
Yeah, I think I may be looking into that myself. We
see another penalty. I think for 2 people got a penalty for speeding during the safety car and speeding in the pit lane. As half the field pits. I wonder, do they all have wing damage, or did we miss something? Yeah, there's a lot of people with wing changes, so we missed a lot of carnage in the back as the great Lampros actually goes for full wets. I'm not sure if it's full wet conditions though. Did we...
I don't know. We haven't got any information from the chat here about the weather and how it's going to play out, but that's going to mix up the field quite a bit. T-Easy pitting as well after he got a pretty good start as well, so he obviously picked up some damage there.
Yeah, a lot of people with... I think all those people had wing damage because they were all in the pit for a pretty long period of time.
I'm guessing then at some point, especially maybe when the safety car came about, because it came out pretty late after
Nah,
that. I'm pretty sure it was Eversnack's incident that
Yeah.
caused the safety car.
Yeah, and I think also it's Eversnack's incident which caused all the wing damage. I think a lot of people in the rear were caught out, and yeah, it was kind of a butterfly effect, I guess.
Yeah, concertina. So yeah, we've got a big spread here, but obviously this is all going to catch up probably by the end of this lap, but we'll probably have another lap of a safety car.
Yeah, for
We're
sure.
expected to come in lap 4. But yeah, that's going to...
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering what the tire wear here is on these intermediates. I'm saying this because it's different on every track, and I remember having a wet race in Singapore in another league, and those inters didn't last long. It also depends on how hard it rains. Like if it's between dry and wet conditions, they really don't last long. And then we had to do almost 3 or 4 pit stops. So it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, what's the condition gonna be like, and how many pit stops are they gonna have to make?
Yeah, it will be interesting. But I think with Singapore, it being a medium-hard strategy, and other tracks that have medium-hard strategy, I like that because the tyre wear is high on the softs. The intermediates act a lot like the softs, so if this is a soft-medium strategy, I'm guessing that maybe they can go the half race like they can in other soft-mediums, but I honestly don't know. As I said before, I have done 0 practice here. I have been struggling to find the motivation to practice.
Yeah, I know that. Like for half the season, I think I only did 5-lapper time trial as practice. So obviously that doesn't yield the results you want.
It's you've got to put the practice in time in order to get near the top, definitely. And the way my season personally is going in Tier 3, I think I've got to put the practice in just to get in the top 10. So,
yeah, but in general, I have to say, like, all tiers in SLR are pretty competitive. I don't think... well, unless you're, of course, a really experienced driver, you can't win in any tier. Not even in Tier 4 you can win if you don't do at least a bit of practice. Unless you're like some sort of alien with years of practice.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. I think we're unique here in SLR in terms of the competitiveness of each tier.
Oh, and there's a lot of things going on to the back. Yeah, especially with Haze and Haze is also one of those. I think he also came from LOR, if I'm not mistaken, and he's also experienced in league racing. But there's, I don't know, Ezekin is really not closing that gap to the rest of the field. So.
Possible that he's just struggling in the conditions, but people behind him are.
Yeah.
And
Eversnack's. No, was it the Great Lampros? It was the Great Lampros, I think, who went off. Yeah, he's really struggling in these conditions. On the full wets, yeah, that's not... I think the issue is the Great Lampos is actually holding Hesse up.
Yeah.
And now Hesse can't catch up as a result of the Great Lampos being on full wets. So that is...
I mean, how many laps does the safety car go before it comes in anyway? Because these guys may never catch, because they haven't...
No, that depends. Usually it's like if a certain... I don't know exactly what... That depends on the programmers, and I have a bit of a programming background. They usually have it set to something like if X percentage of the field has caught up, then go. And there's a parameter like if it's so close to the end of the race, then go in. So like if it's 2 laps to go, it doesn't wait. But generally it does wait until like 90% of the field is back.
Looks like they are going to catch up to the end here, because they're probably going to have another lap.
Yeah, but that's going to be a horrendous restart for the Great Lampros, unless he pits for intermediate tires, has laps and pits, and I think he also had wing damage, because there was a penalty for severe damage.
The Great Lampros is staying out. It's Lepson and Hazex who are pitting here. So this is unfortunate for these two guys, because I get the feeling that we've already done 3 laps on the safety car. It's only to do 1 or 2 more, regardless of where they are. So they could be well off the back of the safety car when the restart happens, which is going to be very difficult for them to catch up then.
Yeah, Hayes has wing damage and he serves his 5-second time penalty, so at least he'll be rid of that penalty. But yeah, it's definitely not ideal starting at the back in wet conditions. I wouldn't say Russia's hard to overtake, on the contrary, but in the wet without DRS, it's tricky.
The Great Lampros and Eversnacks are around again, having more issues and going slowly on that. people are really struggling in wet conditions here. So you get the feeling that not a lot of people practice in the wet, and nobody has a wet setup that is practiced with and worked on for this race.
No, but then again, how often do you practice a wet race?
I do it sometimes.
Really?
But generally I do it in TT, and I just practice TT.
Yeah, that's...
for wet.
I only do that in Brazil, but that's because I wanted to get into the top 10 of time trial. And I actually did, but I only lasted for 1 day. Yes, there's another incident, and I recorded on stream. I think it was Ezekin again who went in the rear of Mehmet. It was Ezekin who went in the rear of Mehmet, and I was wing damage.
What is going on? Why can't people leave a bit of space under the safety car? You don't need to be within 2 tenths.
I have to say, as FIA member, this is gonna be a busy. I think a lot of gonna get reported here because this is just a mess.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, fortunate to have to say it, but yeah, I mean, I'm seeing great Lampros going side by side with people, and I'm wondering why.
I think the safety car is also in this lap because Max is keeping a lot of distance now. But yeah, now a lot of people have wing damage again, so it's gonna be...
Yeah, and when this happens as well, people might not expect it. The slowing down of the grays and the bunching up of it, this causes problems. Let's see when Max goes. Looks like he's going early.
Yeah, I think he's trying to go round the final corner. And he has a half-second lead, so I think he did well. And Tilde goes into the pit, so he probably picked up some wing damage. That's really unfortunate for him.
Yeah. So a lot of people's races are kind of up in the air at the moment after these early lap incidents, but yeah, it's not great.
Yellow in sector 1, is that the Great Lampros? Yeah, the Great Lampros and Mehmet V are both around. Oh dear.
This is the wacky races. Start the Mario Kart music. Red shells everywhere. It's because people are really struggling in this wet conditions here.
It's President Putin dropping some spikes for the non-Russian drivers. Yes.
Yeah. Can we get a pliat in the chat? But yeah, come on, yeah. Is it wet the whole race? We still don't know, Owen. He says in chat kind of thing. So. Let's see, looks as though Schnell is hanging on at the back of Max here. He's so is Ace Boy and Trevelyan, but Trevelyan maybe lost out a couple of positions here. We haven't really paid much attention, but
yeah, he might just be struggling with the wet condition. I noticed in the beginning of the race he was also dropping back a bit from the front too. And the Great Lampros decided to call it a day after he crashed again. Is that another safety car though?
Looks as though he's well off the track at the moment, so may not be. Let me just see if I can see what
his car is removed and we continue racing.
Okay, good news, because I don't think I could have taken another 5 laps of what just happened.
Yeah.
So we're seeing Shaka has managed to do extremely well out of all of this. I have to say, he started in 19 and now he's at P13.
Oh yeah, now you say it. As we say, fastest lap flying, but that's of course logical. With the further you are, the more likely you're setting a fastest lap in these restarts. As Mehmet V apparently dropped out because now we're rejoining, but 20 seconds behind, so that's not ideal.
Not at all, no. So let's see. Oh, we're going to get some racing now because the Snell Henk looks as though Max did go very wide into that long left-hander out of turn 1. And he gets a bit twitchy into the braking zone for turn 3, I think it is. And Schnell Henk catches up quite a bit there. So looks like we'll have a race on our hands here for P1.
Yeah, and both aging points are doing really well as SLR Ocean Chief, the Grandmaster of SLR, is in P5. And yeah, he's also done pretty well from that P6 start. And he's actually keeping Danny behind, who's pretty fast, I know from 2S. So yeah,
certainly.
Looking good for the racing point, aging point boys.
Yeah, Aki Palola hasn't had the greatest start. He's dropped quite a few positions. But T-Easy up into P10 from 13. That's another great start. And he's who was at the back, remember, under the safety car, is now up to P14.
Oh yeah, he has a
jumps around there, kind of thing, with these incidents kind of affecting people in front of others and things. And
yeah,
I'm watching Max here from Schnell Henke's point of view, and Max is very twitchy.
Yeah, that's not
it's
easy conditions.
Certainly not, no. But it's all about keeping it clean and safe at the moment. You don't necessarily have to drive the car to its limit here.
As Azakin has spun and he just rejoined the track. That's in that fast left-hander in Sector 1. Yeah, people struggling all over, really.
Yeah, as Ace Boy sets the fastest lap by, I got 2 seconds, 1:48.
The Ace Boy looking great. Maybe he did have a wet setup, which explains he's maybe quiet qualifying.
Yeah.
As Lapson is around in Sector 3, I think, as he's fallen back a bit.
Yeah, he's looks like he's just overshot the pit entry by quite a margin there. That was quite dangerous, but there was no cars around him as he cuts back across the entire track to get to the pit. So yeah, I think he may get away with that. Tilda now on a huge recovery drive, but we've got Mehmet and Azaikin well off the back of the field at the moment. They're almost getting lapped at this stage, 7 laps into the race. But we're early days yet. Not really got much of a clue as to when people are going to pit here.
No, me neither.
But yeah, see here, the Dr. Luther and Eversnacks have both managed to pit on lap 2 and get away with it essentially and stay up high on the grid. 2 drivers behind them, Shaka and Boosted Mess and the Alpha boys as we'll call them. Shaka picks up a 3-second time penalty. We're going to see a lot of those, especially in these conditions. If you lock up on the way into a corner and go wide, it's very easy to pick up these penalties.
And Ace Boy is really fast because he's at another purple sector in the second sector and he's closing up on Snelle Henke. But yeah, it's still, he has to be really close to make a pass here with no DRS available. He does have all his ERS though. Yeah.
Have a look, see if we can have a quick look at Schnell's as well. His ERS is at 70%, max at 90. So people aren't using their ERS here, obviously because of the wet conditions. It would be dangerous to press it, you know.
Yeah, especially with like even the straight has a corner in it, so it is tricky. As Snelle Henke defends the inside, and yeah, Ace Boy really doesn't find a way past here.
Oh, so he goes a bit deep there.
Oh, he's run the outside. But is there enough grip? That's a really daring move.
He's going to have the inside for the next corner. And Snelle gets a little bit...
Oh, Snelle goes really wide. They're still side by side. Oh, wow, what a defense.
That was really good stuff by Snelle. Really good stuff. Has the outside line there into the second, third corner. And it's very well to carry that much speed through to defend the position. So, Ace Boy now knows he's not going to give it up. And he's going to have to try again.
Ooh, I think somebody's off. I think it's Shaka. Yeah, Shaka has spun.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah,
he's got some wing damage as well, so that could be back of the grid for him again now.
I mean, we know Shaka runs no assist, and yeah, these are probably the worst conditions to drive no assist in.
Yeah, I have to say, I when I first got my wheel, I had to use traction control and ABS because figuring out the pedals without it was really hard. Turning them off, rain was the biggest issue.
No, I still run medium traction for that reason, even with a pretty high end set. So
yeah,
it's not easy. It's not for everybody.
So we've got Tipsy Bob in the chat. Welcome, Tipsy Bob. And Pretorius. I forgot to say hello to Pretorius when he came in. It's good to see people in the chat. Keeping the chat alive. So we've got a little bit of a train here behind Aki Palola with Torska and T-Easy on the back of him, but with the conditions as they are, it's very difficult to overtake. You've got to get a very good run in order to be able to take, because there's just no DRS, and obviously that gives you a huge boost when overtaking.
Yeah, we see the same everywhere on track. Ocean Chief is keeping the same gap to travel in as he had before. Danny's not getting any closer to Ocean Chief as well. Nico has been within a few tenths of Danny all the time, but hasn't been able to make a pass yet, even though he's really close on this straight. As Danny goes really wide, and that might actually give Nico the run. And yeah, he's through.
The head before the next corner.
So a costly mistake by Danny.
3 second penalty now.
That won't help him.
No, it certainly won't. But Ace Boy is renowned for his cleanliness. Max, maybe not so much. He does pick up a couple of penalties in each race.
As Ocean Chief,
picks
yeah.
one up as well. So we're going to start seeing these coming. People have got the warnings coming, adding up now.
As Aceboy is now using the overtake button a little bit more to try and get as close as much to Snellenki as possible. But he's finding it difficult.
With Aceboy and Snell fighting a little bit here for position, Max has managed to create a bit of a gap there to them.
As Lapson is around in the final corner. Continue.
At the risk of giving the old commentator's curse, I really hope that this is Max's day today, because he has great pace. And I hope he's been working on his consistency and he can keep it together here. As he sets the fastest lap, look at that. He's doing
he
did
the same the last lap, so he's definitely found his rhythm. And as you said, Max has been fast before, but he found it difficult to keep consistency. And it's still a long race, though. We're only 1/3 through the race yet.
Yeah, just over, yeah. So lots to happen still, and obviously anything can happen in pit stops and things like that. A safety car could nullify his lead altogether, and it looks so another safety car could be likely. Still a few drivers left in the grid who are prone to mistakes.
Yeah, especially we've seen it in the back of the grid. There's quite some incidents and people going around. But so far, after the safety car, there's only been minor spins. As Snellenki gets a really bad exit there. And it looked like Aceboy had to run, but he doesn't.
Snellenki did well to cover it off there, I think. He's putting his car in the middle of the track. He's getting right in the way. And these aren't great places to overtake on this track, but it looks like Aceboy's going to go for it anyway. Oh no, he backs out there.
Yeah, and Max almost caught up to Lapson, who went around again. And Aceboy definitely has to run on Snellenki now. And he is going on the outside for the next corner, which is going to be really difficult. But then he has the inside. Oh, and they touch, and Aceboy is around. Yep. Aceboy is around. Oh, and that's a very dangerous re-entry there. He nearly went into another car.
It's a difficult one, that, because he's already on the track. He's
I know. But
get out of the way of one, and then come back on as quick as he can, and maybe got in the way of another one. But unfortunate for him. But that's the risk you take when you're overtaking in an unsafe place, essentially. Because I don't think that corner is great for overtaking in.
No, it happened really fast, but I think Snellenki definitely left enough space as Lapson finally decides to retire after that's the last spin. But unfortunately they did touch. I think he kind of understeered into Snellenki, which caused him to spin. It's actually very
difficult. Yeah, so
it's actually
he's going to get past Nico pretty quick. He's got no damage, so he's got off lightly with that.
Yeah. But he'll be fuming anyway.
Yeah, of course he will. With himself, as much as Snellenki maybe, but I think Snellenki.
Trevor Lind. No, Nico is fighting back, but Aceboy keeps the position.
Yeah, I think Nico trying to go for the inside there, but lost traction a little bit and had to correct it. Lost all of the speed going in, but Nico isn't shy of a fight on track, certainly not.
Yeah, I'll tell you who else is not shy on track. It's Ocean Chief, who's actually catching up to Trevor Linder now. And Ocean might downplay it himself, but it's really impressive with the amount of practice he did that he's still running this close. Because these cars are a lot different than the skippies on the Nordschleife, I can tell you.
I want to say I've not played iRacing myself, but far too expensive for my taste. But
it is. It's an expensive hobby, yeah.
Yeah, but I've heard it's very different. The handling model is totally different, much more realistic than F1, which is more of a sim arcade crossover rather than a simulator. But we are seeing some a bit of a battle starting here with some close drivers here from P6, P7, P8, and
yeah, actually, I think that there could potentially be a whole train behind Trevor Linden from P3 all the way to P10. So it might not be unthinkable that even Azviroglu has a shot of podium as he now overtakes Tosca, who pits. So that's lap 12, and I think that's the first of the regular pit stops.
Yeah, he doesn't think he's got damage or anything. I think he's just coming in early. No wing being changed there. So Tosca hoping for an undercut here. Let's see how powerful that can be. So he was just ahead of T-Easy.
Yeah.
Another penalty there for Shaka. Things aren't going his way.
No, Shaka is not enjoying the rain in Russia. No rush B for him.
He certainly struggled in the later part of this season. He was doing extremely well in the beginning stages of it, but as he's trying to improve his pace and push the limits of the car more, he's making more and more mistakes. Because that's essentially what Shaka needed to work on. Obviously, see a lot of guys in the grid all need to work on different aspects of their race. Some need to work on qualifying, some need to work on the pace, some need to work on the cleanliness, some need to work on overtaking, things like that kind of thing. And I like trying to help people with those things because I work on all those things myself as well. And I've been trying to help Shaka with his race pace. And but one of the things that we've been discussing in recent weeks is setup.
Yeah, so that's really important.
For less stable setups, he's getting very sideways there. He's struggling with his setup. So I'm wondering whether or not he's possibly gone for a quick dry setup that's not doing him well in the race.
Yeah, that could be the case. And generally it's always difficult when you try to improve one aspect of your racing, then you tend to get worse in another aspect, and it's to combine all those things is pretty hard. I know I struggled last season a lot with racecraft in general, like not being aggressive enough and then losing my decent qualifying spot, and then I improved that, but then my qualifying got worse, so it's pretty difficult to combine all things and be a good racer. As we now see,
going on there. Ocean Chief looks like he's going to get the move done along the main straight there.
Yeah, that's a good move.
That's the way you do it, Ace Boy. You don't try and send it into a chicane.
No.
You do it on the straight.
But the thing is, he couldn't pass Snelle Henke on that same straight, so which might make me think that Snelle Henke maybe has a good setup for the straights and not so much for the corners.
The thing is, I was noticing when they were fighting there is Ace Boy is still sitting on 70-odd% ERS. Snelle Henke was using a lot of his to stay ahead. So I think it was just a case for Ace Boy. He's sometimes guilty of, sometimes he's very good at this, of being patient. You just needed to be patient, put the pressure on, make Snelle use his resources, and then catch him on the straight later on. But
and still, that corner where he tried to pass is not a bad. I mean, that's normally also a DRS straight, and now it isn't.
Oh, we've got Shaka.
Shaka, yeah.
In the wall. He's stuck in it by the look of things.
Yeah, you have to wait because there's a lot of cars coming. As Aceboy sets a purple sector, and I'm trying to catch up to chat, and it's Tipsy Bob who's.
Mehmet TV retires. Is that on track?
Oh, and Chaka's disqualified for parking in a dangerous location. Yeah, that's the thing the game does if you wait too long.
That's such a... I don't want to say it, but bull. That's
yeah,
such bull.
As Max and Snelle Henke. Max and Snelle Henke pit, so I think this is the time to pit.
Mehmet TV also retires in the pit lane, I think.
Yeah, and... aside from the pit stop, I read that Tipsy Bob is looking to race in Tier 2 this week, which will also be my debut this season in Tier 2. So I'll look forward to racing you there in the back, probably.
You never know, but good question from Dragon here. Does a DSQ count as a DNF in terms of...
Yeah, it is a DNF. Yeah, unfortunately it is.
Currently, at the moment, my prediction is winning, but one more, and it's over. So yeah, four DNFs for my prediction, and
yeah, I didn't know it was gonna rain though.
I didn't either. So
as Aceboy is already on the back of Travelin, and I wonder if he's gonna try to pass him and then do the overcut.
That's right. I'm not sure which is better here, the overcut or the undercut. It's a long pit lane, I have to say. So generally that favours the undercut.
Yeah, we also don't know how tire wear is for these inters.
No, but imagine if people are pitting as early as lap 10 there. I think it was who pitted first.
I think it was Tosca.
No,
Tosca,
that's right. Yeah, Tosca. So where is he at the moment? 12th place at the moment. Yeah, so he was the first to pit. He was just ahead of T-Easy. So when T-Easy pits, we'll see how that affects. But
as Aceboy pits, so he doesn't wait any longer, and he actually undercuts Trevor by doing that. Ocean still continues. Danny also continues. So kind of a lot of an interesting mix of strategies.
Yeah, a lot of people who have maybe taken better care of their tyres haven't slid as much. Obviously, them losing traction on the car causes wear to the tyres. So when you see all these guys kind of slipping about a little bit and things like that kind of thing, that adds more tyre lock up, adds more wear. As Max comes, Aceboy is behind Chanel Henke here as they've both pitted as well. So it could be that this works out very well in Aceboy's favour, this early pit.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely undercut Trevor Linden, and he was already ahead of Ocean Chief. So Aceboy will have sort of clean air to catch up to Snelle Henke again, and we could see part 2 of that battle.
Be interesting to see if there's any love lost between the two drivers after the first incident.
As for Max, Max is kind of dominating now. He's 5 seconds ahead. And I think if he can keep it clean, he might be looking for probably his first win here.
Ooh, don't say that. Don't say that. That's
No.
That's anything can happen at this stage. If a safety car comes out, you could just get beaten on pace.
I can say it's looking really good for him.
Yeah, it is at the moment. But the risk of at the risk of courting Max's wrath. I'm sure he'll be the first to admit it as well. The reason he never finishes in the top 5 is because he makes a mistake at some point where other people don't. So fingers crossed, fingers and toes crossed for him, because it's something that I really struggled with.
Yeah, as we see Nico and Haze battling. Nico on fresh tires, Haze on already 10 laps old Entos, but he does keep Nico behind, so that's interesting.
Well, Nico's trying it on the inside here.
He's better traction. Yeah. But he has better traction than.
Yeah, that like that. He just locked up there. He goes a little bit wide. He pushes the guy wide, kind of thing. So that's why it's so dangerous to make the move into these corners. On Russia, I think I've only raced here in the dry, but not in league racing, just in single player. And for me, it's the straights are the only place to do it. Maybe you can get a decent move into that right-hander at the end of the second straight. But for me, it's the straights and maybe the long left-hander around into turn 3. I think it's turn 2. Those are, for me, are the only places you can really make a move. But there's lots of places where if somebody makes a mistake, you can get past them quite quickly. But they've got to make the mistake. You can't send it into these.
Nope.
In the first sector, all these right 90-degree corners. It's difficult to send it here because if you brake too late, you understeer into the driver.
Yeah, and that goes even more for the wet. It's not as easy as braking a bit later and then being ahead. It doesn't work like that.
I'm on board now with Max at the moment, who's catching up to Eversnacks, and if he gets held up a little bit here, it could cost him time. If he doesn't get past him cleanly as well, or makes a mistake or something like that, this could be interesting in terms of the overall race, big picture.
Yeah, as Trevor Linden, Ocean and Danny have gone more than half the race on these inters.
I'm wondering if it's going to dry out, and these guys are waiting for that.
Yeah, I'm thinking they are. I do remember Pretorius saying something in chat about it might dry out near the end. I just don't know if this inters will last that long. It does look like it's already drying out a little, as I don't see much coming down from the
Still
onboard
raining.
camera.
I think that maybe the lane seems a little lighter than it was originally. Snell Henke sets the fastest lap there.
Yeah, times are improving, so
It is certainly drying out, but it always happens with just the cars on the track pushing the water off the dry line. So that is a factor in the game, in the programming.
As Pretorius says, tire wear is very low, so they might be able to go to the end.
Oh, that would be interesting if people did a non-stop. I'm not sure. I haven't tried it in this game, but in 2019 it was perfectly reasonable to do a no-stopper. And just if you were starting on the hards in a dry race or the wet or the intermediates in a wet race, you could just go to the end and it wouldn't disqualify you.
Yeah, I also remember some races even this season where potentially, I mean you're not allowed to, but potentially you could go all the race on mediums or all the race on hards. It was viable. And you'd have like 75% wear at the end, but they'd survive.
But does it disqualify you for not changing your
tire? Yeah, it does. Well, not with rain.
In the last game.
Not with rain, but in dry it does.
Interesting.
You have to you have the tire compound rule where you have to have a minimum of 2.
Tipsy Bob's asking for an onboard view here, by the way, just so we can see the track conditions.
Yeah, I just switched to onboard before. It's still raining though.
It is. It does seem a lot lighter than it did at the start of the race, though. So it's possible it could dry out in the end.
Oh, there's a yellow Red Bull went off. I think that's still there. That's the second of the Red Bulls. He had a slight moment.
Yeah, maybe just losing on traction spinning, but saves it by the looks of things, maybe.
As Danny finally goes into the pit.
Yeah.
He'll have the tire advantage at the end, but I wonder how far he drops back. He might still come out ahead of Torska.
No, I don't think he will.
No, that's straight. No, Tosca will have the straight line speed on him.
So I think he might come out behind the other Mercedes, Akilola.
No, I think he'll make that. But he'll have much fresher tires.
Much fresher, but that's the thing. These guys in front, travelling in Ocean Chief, and even more so, Eversnacks and T-Easy. If these tire wear is so low here, these guys pitted lap 2 under the safety car. Can almost certainly go to the end on this.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Max does have. Ooh, Snelle Henke went off. Or Snelle Henke went off and is driving slowly and lost the position to Ace Boy.
I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe some more contact between the two.
No,
they were close together.
No, I don't think so. I think it's a mistake from Snelle. As I was trying to say that Max was losing time to Snelle Henke before because he's stuck behind Eversnacks. He doesn't seem to be able to make the pass.
That's unfortunate. I knew that was going to come into play, but Snelle Henke does seem to have an end plate missing as well. So tapped the wall maybe. Lost traction and tapped the wall possibly.
What you said about people that might be going to the end. Imagine if Eziroglu, who had all that bad luck at the start, goes to the end. and Ocean and Trevor pit. Imagine that.
Looks as though Ocean is looking to go to the end. In chat, Icewind's asking Pretorius, and Pretorius says yes, he is going for it. So that's going to be interesting. 5
Ooh,
seconds,
as Eversnacks. Oh, that does ruin his race then.
Yeah, pitting again after already pitting on the second lap as well. So
Snelle pits as well. So I think he had wing damage in that incident.
He did, yeah. I mentioned that on this.
Oh,
he did, yeah.
I missed that.
He
Sorry.
missing an end plate there. It's okay. It happens. Not all. Sometimes we're paying too much attention to the race to listen to each other.
Yeah, and I also have like the switching of cameras and watching of the chat.
Yeah, there's a good reason why I don't like doing the streaming side of things.
Yeah, but I mean, we're not women, so we cannot do that much at the same time. There's limited capacity here.
I don't know if that's sexist against women or men. That's disgusting.
I'm
joking, of course, but I think Max has managed to lose a second almost to Ace Boy there, but
now he has clean air.
Eversnack is out of his way. We'll see what happens here, but is Max going to be able to catch these guys who are doing the no stopper?
Yeah, that's gonna be a difficult one because he's almost 10 seconds. I'll switch to leader, gap to leader for now. He's 10 seconds behind Trevor Linden, and it's 8 laps to go. So that means he has to catch more than a second a lap to the guys in front. And I tell you what, currently he's not doing that. On top of that, he also has to pass all those cars.
Yeah.
I don't know what the penalty situation is like though.
I can certainly check that for us and see how we're going with that. So Trevor Linden's doing extremely well with 1 warning. Ocean Chief has 1 penalty. T-Easy has 1 penalty. Max has 0 warnings. Very impressive from him. Great improvement from him. It looks as though Ace Boy has 3 warnings, no penalty. So it looks as though maybe one of those is for contact.
Then it looks to me that Trevor Linden is actually the biggest danger to the Max and Ace Boy if they don't pit.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, that's definitely the case. But of course, those 3-second penalties don't mean much if you're not within 3 seconds of the guy in front of you.
Yeah, and that's why I think
at the moment.
7 laps. It's gonna be a difficult one.
Yeah. It's interesting to see these guys going for this no stopper. I'm thinking lots of other people are pitting early. So I'm wondering what kind of percentage wear we're going to see on these guys' tyres at the end.
It would be a real Ocean Chief to get a puncture in the final lap
Danny
while
picked up a
leading.
3-second final. Yeah, that would be Ocean Chief's luck, certainly would. Yeah. It's, excuse me. It would be unfortunate.
I think we need a drink or something.
Yeah, I think I do. It would be unfortunate for Max if he lost out on this on strategy.
Yeah, I don't think he ever thought of doing the no stop. Usually you get that Jeff strategy saying like you have to pit around X lap and you just follow it or just adjust with 1 or 2 laps. At least that's what I do. I don't really go deep into strats.
Me either, to be honest. I mean, I just copy other people's strats, or if failing that, it's a case of I think it depends on whether or not you've got a crew chief. Because a lot of guys use crew chiefs in
the thing is, from my experience, half the time when other guys say, yeah, it's an easy SM, and then I'm like on 70% softs after 3 laps, I'm like, what the frick are you talking about? It's completely impossible for me. So it's not the same for everybody. Driving styles differ, tire wear differs. It's
pad versus... Oh, Ace Boy picks up a penalty.
Yeah,
huge,
3 seconds.
Huge in the race.
Yikes. More good news for Max.
He's up to Max very quickly though, so he may be able to... Max is struggling a bit here for pace now.
Yeah.
I wonder why. I wonder if it's maybe... No, I can't. I mean, his tyres are fresher than everybody's.
Yeah.
Like, as fresh as everybody's around him. But he had the same pace as Ace Boy at the beginning of this race.
He might have like really light lime green damage, which you cannot see. Maybe. Possibly, I'm just clutching at straws here, but it's.
I think it could also just be driver error kind of thing. Driver lack of stamina, should we say, or concentration, just kind of making a little mistakes here and there as the race goes on. Yeah. It's very difficult, especially when you're racing out on your own. There's nobody around you to keep it consistently clean and perfect every lap and every corner. I can
definitely say it's very difficult. Before last week, I never had that experience, but then I had it in both Singapore and in 2S in Russia, driving at the front all the time. And then especially like after 2/3 of the race, it's really difficult to, like you start to wonder or you have difficulty keeping your eyes open. Like it's becoming a strain. Yeah. It's not easy.
It's difficult not to just kind of look at something and just take your eye off the track for half a second, and that's all it takes. Just 1/10 of a second not looking at where you're going, or especially around a corner or something, you can kind of mess it up, and then if you overcorrect it too hard, you're in the one, you're dead. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
As Tipsy points out, did Ferrari pay you, Hammer, for all this extended coverage? Yeah, I was just wondering if Max had any issues or if Ace Boy was closing in, so that's why. And I was probably talking too much, but hey, it's better than to be.
Talk too much, is it not?
Yeah.
It's something that I've been told off many times in my life, of flapping my lips.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah, you know.
This is the one place I'm allowed to do it, damn it.
Yeah, this is actually like a Hammer kid story. When I was younger, I wanted to be an F1 driver, but my mom thought it was too dangerous. But in the end, I became an F1 driver, but in game. And also when I was little, I wanted to become a commentator, because every time I was playing a game, I was also commentating on it at the same time. And now I'm also a commentator. I mean, it's for SLR and not TV or anything. But it's still, I achieved both my life goals. So suck it, Mom. It's I'm here. I'm racing. I'm commentating. Deal with it. As Ocean Chief was getting really close to Trevor, so I was wondering if he's gonna pull a move, but he didn't. And Essican really had it with his race as well and retires in the pit.
Yeah. So that's 5 DNFs. My prediction's gone wrong. Boosters Mess gave himself a place. This guy's been...
let's hope it's coming. It's back. Yeah, that's just a Streamlabs thing. I noticed in Streamlabs it was gone. And yeah, I'm watching the stream as well, guys. I did notice, so
yeah.
Luckily we're back.
So quickly though. Yeah, we are back.
Yeah, I noticed it in my stream. There was this message saying stream has disconnected, attempting to reconnect, and I was like, okay. Did we miss?
Within a second of the leader.
Ooh, Aziroglu is also really close now.
Ezeroglu's done an extremely good drive here to get from P13 up here.
I think for me, Ezeroglu is definitely in contention for driver of the day. Let's not curse this, but we were talking about how he was all the way in the back after that safety car mess, and here he is in P3 with a possible P2 maybe. A win will be hard, but
I don't think he's got a penalty.
No.
It's easy, so I'll double check that to make sure. But oh no, he does have a penalty. Yeah, so they're racing on for track position with him and Ocean Chief at the moment. But Trevor,
and Max
currently.
Max at 3.9 seconds, so he might be P4 on track, but still win it on penalties. That's also a possibility.
No, Trevor Linden at the moment doesn't have any warning.
Oh yeah, Trevor Linden, of course.
He's the main guy in the lead at the moment, kind of thing. So, but Max is looking great at the moment for a good finish. He will be maybe a little disappointed that he led the race for the whole thing, but didn't win.
Yeah.
But if you get the strategy wrong, that can happen.
It's an interesting one, though. Let us know in chat, who do you think will win and who do you think will podium? Because there's a lot of guys in contention now. I'm just wondering what your opinions are.
Yeah, see, Ezra has pitted there, George. He pitted very early on, though, I think. Let me just double check. So where's the stops? So, yeah,
Trevor has no penalties, X Crystals. I know your name is Fadovara in chat, but I know it's X Crystals. Yeah, Trevor has no penalties.
Yeah, but obviously he's got to keep it together for the rest of the race first, and it is looking tight between these front three at the moment. Three people haven't made a stop so far. Boosted Mess, Ocean Chief and Trevor are the only guys who aren't doing a no-stop. But it looks as though Boosted Mess maybe struggles in the wet conditions, because his fastest lap at the moment is a good 3-4 seconds off everybody else's, which is maybe why he's down at the back. But it's just something to work on. These guys new to F1 racing by the looks of things. He's just got himself a wheel and things like that, I think. But I have to say, he's really impressed me with how much dedication he's put into the game in the weeks that he's been here, and how much he's improving. Every week he finds something else to improve on, and he works on it as well.
Yeah, this is now becoming a really interesting train with Trevor, Ocean, Ezreoglu, Max and Aceboy all close behind each other. Aceboy does a dive on Max and he nearly gets him. Wow, I didn't expect this at all. Yeah, Aceboy is passed. Ooh, and that doesn't really... Yeah, that doesn't... Sorry to interrupt. That doesn't really help Max because he's now even further behind. And he does need to stay within 3 seconds to get that possible podium.
Yeah.
Ooh, and Ezreoglu gets the second penalty.
Oh, that's unfortunate. So that's going to be huge for him. He's going to drop out of the podium point altogether.
Yeah.
Aceboy has a penalty as well. Ocean Chief has a penalty. It looks like Trevor Linden's looking very good for a win in his debut race.
As Aceboy is making the moves.
A bit of a charge, isn't he? Yeah.
I tell you what, if Aceboy manages to get past where Max doesn't, and then somehow pulls a 3-second gap, he might still win this race.
No, I think with Aceboy having the penalty and Trevor Linden not, he's going to find it extremely difficult to win.
Yeah, but look how he's just flying past. He now overtakes Ocean as well, so in the space of 1 lap he overtook 3 cars.
Yeah, that's the tyres, I think, because these other guys have got... a lot of wear on their tyres at the moment. And Aceboy on 9-lap old, he's taking over TZ on 22-lap old, and Ocean Chief on 24-lap old. So these guys...
Oh, Trevor Linden went off and gets a time penalty as well.
Oh, that's huge.
That brings Max back into contention.
Span and hit the wall.
Oh, no.
It's over for Trevor Linden.
We cursed him. It's Tipsy's fault because he called it. I'm blaming Tipsy Bob.
All of the blame to Tipsy. Yeah.
Tipsy cursed another one. This is totally on you, Mr. Bob. As Aceboy is now suddenly 2 seconds ahead, and Max is at 2.9, so suddenly Aceboy might be leading this race.
Yeah, Aceboy has just the one penalty somebody asked. Puncture for Trevor Linden. He got a puncture.
Oh, he got a puncture, so the tires did die. Oh, that's...
So let's keep an eye on Ocean Chief for the remainder of the race, because he's on the same strategy. Oh, his tyre's going to burst as well, or is he
Oh
taking
my-
better care of them?
What an ending to this race. I mean, I was
Yeah.
saying like Max is cruising and 5 seconds ahead, and now suddenly we have this situation. So yeah, it just tells me how bad I am at predicting
Ooh.
stuff.
Call an F1 race at your peril.
Ooh, and Ocean is really slow through the corners now with those tires that are probably screaming. And Max is yeah, he definitely wants to get past this lap because he's now behind a 3-second gap to Ace Boy. What a race.
Double check Max's penalties here. One warning.
Yeah, that's
One
pretty
warning.
safe.
So, penalties for Ace Boy and Ocean Chief. Max is still in with a great shout of winning this race.
Yeah,
Please
but
not
he
curse him.
he has
But
to
he's really
gain.
allowed to go.
He has 1 lap to gain. He has to pass Ocean Chief and gain a lot of time as well. And Ocean Chief will just cost him a lot of time in this sector. So
Is Ocean Chief going to be kind and let him past? I don't
No,
think he is.
no,
He's gonna
no.
fight for this position. But Ocean Chief may know that he's going to lose to Max anyway on track.
you have to know. You have to know one thing about old guys. They go down fighting, tooth and nail.
Old guys are supposed to have sense. This doesn't make sense. You should let him pass because he's not in this fight. He can't
Or
win this fight.
in terms of Soviet Union with hammer and sickle or something.
He is fighting this year. He did use his ERS there.
Yeah,
For the
this
back-
is
back-
suddenly somehow you told us earlier about Ace Boy's great racecraft. Now that's definitely showing this race because he might have not been the fastest guy on track, but he's certainly been the craftiest one.
Mhm,
And
definitely.
it's now 4.6 seconds, so this race looks lost for Max now. Is he gonna
No.
try something desperate down the inside here?
Oh, he's holding it.
Oh no, he
He
cannot.
couldn't get it done now.
No, and it's
Chief
now
not giving
5
it up.
seconds. It's Chief is Chief is the race decider as Trevor gets a 5-second penalty for pit lane, but he DNFs. That's really
I think
unfortunate.
that's race over now after that fight because
Yeah.
even if he gets past Chief now, he's not going to get there. So, boo Chief, you've just ruined Max's race.
Yeah, and
I know it's fair
boo-
enough to fight on track for position, but you've got the penalty. That's not nice.
and boo Tipsy for ruining Trevor Linden's race. No, I'm gonna quit with that now. Yeah, and suddenly the race for the win is over, but the race for the podium is still on.
Yep. Tipsy's not happy with you.
Yeah, Tipsy hates me after this race. But I don't care because he cost me 1 race when he cursed me. So this is now the final corner for Ace Boy. And he comes around and he wins the Russian Grand Prix from an unlikely position. A few laps ago he was in P5. And Max gets P2 on penalties. And Ocean gets the podium in Tier 4. So great race for Ocean as well. On the no stop.
Yeah.
And then we have Danny in P5. And I'm gonna let you continue. I'll quickly grab something to drink because I'm dying.
Yeah, no problem. It looks like Ace Boy has won this by being more cunning than a fox who's professor of cunning at Cambridge University. T-Easy, an excellent race from him. Let's have a look and see who's gained the most positions here. I think it's going to be T-Easy. T-Easy and Nico both gained 9 positions. Torska gained 10. So Torska's going to get the game's driver of the day. I'm tempted to give it to Torska myself as well. Nico and T-Easy both had great races as well. But P17 to P7 to get himself firmly in the points. That's a pretty good race from him. I'm also thinking, got to mention Ocean Chief just for getting that strategy to work.
On the no stop. Yeah, it's really difficult. I mean, Ace Boy had that really smart driving. As I forgot to switch camera, of course. Yeah, Ace Boy had that really smart driving and those brilliant overtakes in 1 lap. But Aziroglu,
Wow.
if you remember where Aziroglu was after the first few laps, he was all the way stuck in the back and it was looking hopeless, and he just finished outside the podium as Dr. Uter finishes with a nice spin to entertain the crowd. And there's, it's really hard to call.
Let's not forget that Ace Boy span when he tried to overtake early in the race as well and still recovered from things. So yeah, there's a lot of contenders to drive the day. It's going to be a difficult one. I have to. It's a really hard one.
The game says, yeah, I understand that because he started from like B13 or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tipsy Bob raises a valid point that Aceboy span and then came back and won the race.
I'm going to put my neck out and say I've got to give it to Aceboy because those last few laps...
yeah, they were insane.
Were special, yeah. I mean, he took over 3 cars, gained 3 positions in 1 lap.
And he gained the time on Max.
And he gained the time on Max, and he won the race out of it. Where I honestly didn't think it was going to go beyond Trevor, but obviously Trevor's mistake cost him huge.
And fastest lap as well.
Fastest lap as well, 26 points in the championship. So Aceboy putting a marker down and saying, nope, definitely bot's gone. The championship's mine.
Yeah, I give it to Aceboy as well. That's decided then. So it's Aceboy, Max, Ocean Chief, Azeroglu, Nico. Aki Palola, also one of the reserves who did pretty well.
He's a very clean race.
Danny, Eversnacks who got some points, and Tilde. And Eversnacks who had the difficulty as well, so there's also a good recovery drive, I'd say. And Tilde. Snelle Henke, unfortunately, after that good first half of the race, fell back to P11. And then it's Dr. Uter, he's a boosted mess. Yeah.
Looking at the penalty situation, quite a lot of drivers have got no penalties, so it's one of those tracks where the penalties make a huge difference. Looks like Danny maybe dropped a couple of positions because of his 9 seconds worth of penalties. Thank you, Tipsy. I have to admit, there wasn't a lot of action on track today, but I still think it was an exciting race.
Yeah, definitely. With the different strategies we saw, people pitting early, people pitting late. What does it mean? Is it gonna dry up? The penalty situation, and then the great final few laps. It was not hard to keep talking, at least.
That's never been hard for me, but we've got a myriad of drivers in the Corona Club at the moment, all waiting for a interview, maybe. So I'm going to bring in Ocean Chief and talk about his no-stopper first of all, and we'll start there. So, Ocean Chief. What a strat! That was it tense, or how were your tires at the end of that?
I was kind of getting there, you know, like I think the third last lap, it was like 70% or 69.
But it paid off in the end. You've got yourself P3, and we've got a little bit of a bone to pick. Why did you fight with Max when you had a penalty and he didn't?
Max kind of like was talking to me there, and he said I didn't leave him space. I can't even remember what it was. Like, was it the last lap or the second last lap?
Second last lap and things like that. I think Max, I think he was charging for pole. He was on the charge for pole at the time. You had a 3-second penalty and he didn't. Were you aware of that? I'm guessing not.
I didn't know that, but I don't think I was fighting him. Like in my head, I was just trying to keep it together on track, so I probably was just messing up. I honestly wasn't trying to like fight him because I could see he closed in pretty fast. Like, so I thought, you know, I'll maybe hold him up a little bit, but I'm not gonna like fight him because it wouldn't really make sense for me. I'd probably end up killing myself.
Yeah, I'm sure we can all shake hands and be friends with afterwards. But not a lot of practice. Hammer tells me that there wasn't a great deal of practice for you for this race because you've been doing iRacing all week in the Nordschleife, which is very different kettle of fish. How did you find it today? Everybody seemed to struggle. There was a lot of traction problems.
Yeah, I mean, whenever we loaded up the race session, so quali is dry, but race is wet. It kind of like, I think that worked in my favor because obviously hardly anyone practices quali. So we're kind of made the race a bit more even for me. I did do a few laps in TT before this race because I was just worried about like showing up and just killing everybody, you know, so I just wanted to familiarize myself with the track. But yeah, I mean, I was surprised in quali to get up to P6. As you saw, my first 2 runs were pretty poor, and that was really just me getting up to speed. And then that final run, I literally crossed the line, and there was 2 seconds left in the session, so that lap was a bit of a fluke one. But yeah, I mean, I just did my usual thing. I just tried to keep it consistent, just try to find a bit of pace in those wet conditions, and yeah, I think the race just kind of went in my favor. There was obviously that safety car, which gave us a bit of a breather. and we were kind of joking in VC saying that yeah, we can just do a safety car for the rest of this race. I'm happy to. At that point, I was P5, and it was like I'm happy with that. You know, that suits me. But obviously the safety car went in, and like strategy wise, we were just kind of making it up as went along. I got the halfway point, saw the other guys pitting, and then it said I was kind of feeding back what condition my tires were in, and then we were thinking maybe go to the end. And then Trevor, I saw he was doing pretty good ahead of me. It was just about managing that gap, and then did his tire explode or something?
I think so.
Trevor's,
yeah.
Trevor Linden's tire punctured indeed.
Yeah, because he had no penalty, so I was like, he's sitting pretty for the win right now. I saw Max had pitted, and obviously T Ezerglue were pretty fast behind me, and I expected them to catch me pretty quickly, but yeah, I was just basically hanging on. Those last few laps were very sweaty, so apologies to Max. I didn't mean to any contact or anything. I was probably just, like I say, just holding it
Surviving.
together. Yeah, trying to survive. Yeah.
Things happen in races. It's unavoidable at times. But we're going to talk to Max next and get his point of view because he's sitting in Chrono Club. He is muted at the moment. I'm not sure if he's going to be there, but I would like to get an interview with him.
Okay.
And we'll let you go and get your drinks and bladder emptied and things like that. Thanks for the interview, Chief.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's see then. So we'll just drag him in and see if we can talk to him and see what he says. If he doesn't say anything, we'll go back. So, Max, terrific race there. We were talking about you a lot on stream there. A little unfortunate not to get the win after Trevor Linden's puncture. How disappointed are you that you didn't win?
I'm very disappointed because I think that I can get this win, but it was faster in race case, so
yeah,
he got it.
P2, a massive improvement from previous results, and I think in the end you only got the one warning, which has been a problem for you in the past, picking up penalties. Is that something that you've been working on?
By the way, I didn't practice in wet conditions and not much in dry, but I got a set up from crystals, so it was very good to drive with this. Very stable.
I'll certainly be having a word with X Crystal, see if I can get that set up for him for my race tomorrow. It seemed to do well. Let's see it. What those last couple of laps there, you were having a bit of a tangle with Ocean Chief there. I'm not sure Ocean Chief knew that you didn't have the penalty and he did. Let's get your thoughts on that little battle there, because that cost you the race in the end, unfortunately.
Maybe it cost, but it wasn't that moment because Ace Boy spin maybe at the early race, but because he was battling with I don't know who, but Racing Point maybe. So he was definitely faster because he just catch me up and just made 3 passes in the two or three corners maybe.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive to see from Ace Boy, I have to say. We gave him the driver of the day for that. But I have to say, I was considering you. There were lots of contenders, but I was considering you just because of the cleanliness of your race. It's a big improvement from previous races that I've seen you racing. But you've got to be happy with P2. It's still a lot of points. Is it your best finish so far in SLR?
Yes.
Yeah, so congratulations on that. Thanks for the interview, but we've got a myriad of people to get through.
Yep.
But yeah, best of luck in your next race next week. How are you feeling about next week's race?
I don't really like Japan, so I don't think I can manage a position like this. So,
Gap.
But we see.
Plenty of practice. That's what you need. Plenty of practice, and it'll stand you in good stead. But best of luck next week. Thanks for the interview.
Thank you. Hello.
Okay, let's see.
There's
a lot
left.
Ace Boy, but he's muted.
Ace Boy was muted.
We've got Snelle Henke, who was up there for the first part of the race and then spun. Maybe we...
Yeah, we'll bring him in. Yeah, we'll take him in. Okay.
See the broadcast if it's there.
Hello, Snell. Sorry, we've just moved you into the commentator's booth now, just for a quick interview. Sorry to interrupt your conversation there.
Yeah.
Great race for you in the first half there. Where did it go? What happened with your incident there? Something went wrong, extremely wrong, didn't it?
It was, I needed to take a turn. I slipped away. I gave a little bit too much throttle and I was gone. I I already pitted, so that was really unlucky, and I had to pit again, and yeah, I had just to forget it and just try to get my pace back, and that was it.
Well, it's unfortunate you couldn't make the recovery. It was a bit too late in the race to do it, I
Yeah.
suppose. And your spin was a little bit worse with the damage and things than Ace Boy's. How did you find the battle with Ace Boy in the early laps? Because he was really, really going for you, and you had that tap with him in Eastpan.
Yeah. I was really, I really didn't know because I was thinking I was giving him enough space, but I really didn't know. It's really really hard to keep your car on track in those turns, and but yeah, I suddenly saw he was not behind me in the turn in the next turn. So then I really thought like, oh my God, did I made a mistake? And well, it was not intentional or anything.
No,
I don't think it was your fault.
on the
I think
stream,
it was his fault.
on the stream, it looked like he understeered into you. Like he tried to stay on the outside, but he couldn't keep it, and then yeah, he went into your side pod and span.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
I think you had the track position anyway. You were ahead, so it was up to him to back out of it essentially, and he didn't. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. But FAI deals with those kind of things afterwards. It's just kind of get the feel of what your thoughts were. So obviously you thought it was your fault.
yeah. Because actually I was really really putting all my concentration on my pace, and then suddenly I saw him coming closer, and I thought like, hey, oh, wait a minute, I'm just not focusing here. I just need to get some extra pace because he, it was a little bit surprising that he suddenly was really close behind me.
He's a quick boy.
So-
He's
Yeah,
very
he was
quick.
flying.
Leading the championship for a reason, and in the last couple of laps you wouldn't have seen it because you were further down the grid. But in the last in the penultimate lap,
You
if I can
overtake.
get my words out, you overtook 3 cars
Yeah.
in 4 corners.
Oh wow!
5 corners or so. So the guy's got incredible racecraft. He's difficult to race against, and I've raced against him plenty of times. Very difficult to race against him. But you've done extremely well in your debut race here. This is your first race here. How did you
Second.
find the,
I think
the
second.
field?
Second.
Yeah.
Second race, okay, yeah.
Well, I was really surprised that I in the qualification that I suddenly was on number 1, and I thought like, yeah, well, maybe it's a bug or something. And then I saw that they were passing me, so I thought like, okay, this is yeah, I'm extremely lucky, I thought, and yeah, but also I thought at that time like, yeah, well, don't be too happy too quick, because it's going to be yeah, a rainy race, so
It's a
and then
long
everything
one,
can
yeah.
happen.
Certainly anything did happen as well. Yeah, so good race for me. I don't know how you, if this is your second race, I can't remember your first race, but you do race without assists, am I correct? Because you do race in DMR with me on a Monday where I am trying to
No,
learn.
I do race with assists. It's because I have those pedals from a T300, Thrustmaster T300, and I had to repair them twice. So it's already
A challenge.
It's really a challenge. Yeah. To
Are you
push those
talking
pedals.
about the 2 pedals where the brake
Yeah.
pedal is very light?
Yeah.
Not the Pro ones, because I've got the T150 and I've got the Pro pedals, and those other pedals, they're just not very good, if I'm honest. Particularly for braking and things. So yeah.
That
Yeah.
explains the
You
assist,
use-
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are hard pedals, and yeah, it's possible to use no ABS, but to use no traction control, that's really hard with those pedals.
Yeah.
With these ones, with mine specifically.
That I personally always found the ABS harder to remove than the traction control, particularly with a very light brake pedal as well, because it's very hard to kind of judge where the pedal is. You know what I mean. And I have to say, I've got the Pro pedals, and I bought a mod for them that for £5 or so that gives it a bit of resistance. So if you've repaired them once before, maybe have a look into looking at some mods or something like that kind of thing that can maybe improve the braking and things like that. But thank you for the interview. Anyway, you've had an unfortunate incident today, but hopefully you can get into the points and get some good positions, because it looked as though you were fighting at the top.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I hope it too.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the evening, now.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe drag Ace Boy in now?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
We can give Ace Boy a go with the race winner. Let's see what he thought of that. So, Ace Boy, what a finale there. You managed to overtake 3 cars in the space of 5 corners or something like that. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize until I watched the stream. I was just trying to race and get past for P1. That's all I tried.
Yeah, so it was great stuff to see on the stream, I have to say. But that you had one incident in the race there, a little spin with Chanel, who we've just spoken to. What were your thoughts on that, essentially?
I went for the inside of the corner. I thought I had it. Suddenly the gap closed real quick and got hit him in the side pod and spun. Not sure if it's my fault or his. I will still review and then I'll check in.
Yeah, I think from our point of view, we were watching that on the stream at the time it happened. I think from our point of view, it may have been that you understeered into him, essentially. Didn't get the move done cleanly. So fingers crossed you don't get any major time penalties for that. But I think even a 5-second one, you would still keep the lead, I think. But yeah, I don't think...
No, I don't.
I don't think it shouldn't cost you anything by the looks of things. But yeah, well, it's a bit unfortunate. But it's a bit... Conditions today were extremely tricky. How did you find them?
Normally I was uncomfortable with the rain at the beginning, but it seemed like everybody was more uncomfortable, if I could say that.
Agree.
So yeah, kind of lucky to be able to have that pace and to keep it consistent and get the podium.
So now that definitely Bot's no longer your rival in the championship. Are you fairly confident that you're going to win it? It's a pretty big gap to T-Easy.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Yeah,
you never know.
True.
That's true. Yeah, we were just before the race. We were making the calculations. I'm like, oh, okay, so he has to get 0 points for all those races, and then that guy has to win everything. So it's looking. But yeah, you're right. Anything can happen. So that's a good mindset to have.
Yeah, it's going to stand you well for the remaining races because obviously it means that you're not going to give it up. Yeah, if I was in your position, I'd certainly be going for a record point haul, essentially, racing against myself at this stage. But yeah, I'm not sure your history in league racing and things like that kind of thing. Have you raced in other leagues and things like that? Have you ever won a championship?
In other leagues, I've only driven one league. That was last year. It was the first time I played an F1 game. So I won the championship over there. With like 2 points difference, so yeah, real close.
Tight. So yeah, this one's a bit more dominant for you this time, but yeah. Wish you the best of luck in the remainder of the season. But I'm pretty confident, in my opinion, that you're going to win the championship. But I'll refrain from congratulating to you till we've got it mathematically.
Yeah.
Don't want to jinx anything, but. I have to say, you definitely want to have a look at that race again, not only for the hilarious safety car antics at the start, but also your brilliant driving at the end.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Bye.
We have oversteers a lot, or Eversnacks. I kind of want to hear about his race, because he also had some difficulties, but still finished P9, so at least some points.
Yeah, go with that, but I have to say this is going to be the last interview. I'm getting tired.
Yeah, agreed.
Eversnacks, Oversteer, Enemy Killer, whatever you like to be called. Great race for you today. What a recovery. It was pretty good to see that you had an incident very early on and you kept it together and clean for the rest of the race to get yourself some points.
Hey there, guys. Yeah, I'd say I might have finally managed to do a good recovery drive. Been waiting for that for a long time. I somehow tend to get caught up in first lap incidents a lot, because this race in the first lap, I think it was a racing point that just spun in front of me, and cars from behind were just coming through the corner and just pushed me into that car on the track. So yeah, I lost my front wing there. Luckily for me, there was a safety car. I could catch up to the field.
Yep.
There was some weird shenanigans happening under the safety car as well.
Yeah, we noticed.
We know. We know.
Yeah, I think the FIA is going to have a look at that, but
Thanks.
I'll just accept it.
Yeah, I have recently said to Ocean Chief that I am happy to do some FIA things, but it hasn't come to fruition yet. And I get the feeling that maybe this might be the week because the FIA is going to be busy after that one. Yeah, you've in the past you've had some difficulties. I mean, I personally don't know what your results are like. How often have you finished in the points this season?
Well, I've had some really good races. I think I actually had a podium at the start of Tier 3 as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I was pretty close to some good results in Tier 4 as well, but then made some mistakes or got caught up in stuff. Yeah, but this time, finally some points now that I'm a full-time driver in Tier 4. Definitely happy about that. Could have been more, of course. I was running in 5th, I believe, like in the middle of the race, but then I decided to pit again because I tend to spin a lot when my tires are worn, so I wasn't going to take that risk, and went for a second pit stop and kept P9 at the end, I believe.
Yeah, you did.
Not bad at all. But yeah, there was certainly a lot going on in that early safety car. You've done extremely well to come back and get some points there out of it. It's something that. From my commentating days, and I've noticed that you do tend to get into a lot of early lap incidents and things like that kind of thing. And it's sometimes it's bad luck. Like I think maybe today was bad luck. Sometimes it might be down to errors coming from you, not to kind of put you on the spot there. But what do you do to work on that? If you're having difficulties on the first few laps of the races, is there anything that you do in your practice to try and help improve that?
Well, the thing is, I can't really do that much practice outside of the league because I feel there's a very different style of racing, even just in the practice sessions here in the league, that you got to work around. So I think just doing the league races, trying to be more careful, I think that's what helps the most. Today I had a really good start. I think I went from P10 to P5 in the first few corners. So I like these race starts because you can just make up positions where others make mistakes. But I think I've been starting to take them a little more carefully because, yeah, of course you can't win the race in lap 1, and you can only take the opportunities where there actually are some gaps. If there's no gaps, you just crash into people.
I'm always full of these little tidbits of advice like this, but it's something that I struggled with last season as well. First lap incidents and not being able to get through the first couple of laps without losing a wing or ending up in the wall or something like that kind of thing. And my solution to that was to open a GP against the AI, put it on a really low setting, and put myself at the back of the grid and start the race that way kind of thing. So you're much quicker than all of the AI, but you have to get past them still, and you've got to do it cleanly. The AI will not move out of your way. So maybe give that a shot, because that's worked very well for me. Racing against the AI on a lower setting, lower than you would normally race at. For me, I put it at about 80, because I normally race at about 90, 95 or something like that on AI. That's about my pace. But if I put it down to 80, you're much quicker than the guys, and you've got to get past them and pick the right lines and things like that kind of thing. And obviously, when you do that, when I did that anyway, it was a case of like going from P20 to P10 in one lap. You get a good idea about where on the track you can overtake, where people won't give you the space, because the AI doesn't act anything like a real person, but it just gives you an idea of how and where you can do things. Let's give that a shot maybe, and maybe that'll stand you in some good stead if you've got the time for that kind of practice. But I usually used to do only 2-3 laps in that GP and then just give up on it because the rest of the race wasn't really giving me any good practice. But, yeah, try and say that on board. But I'm always trying to give drivers advice, especially on things that I've struggled with myself and try to improve on myself.
Yeah, thank you for sure. I'll give that a try when I find the time, and hopefully it helps.
Fingers crossed. It certainly did me a lot of good, but it's different for everybody, obviously, because everybody's got different driving styles and things. But congratulations once again on points, and hopefully we can see you in them more regularly in the future.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Take care.
So I think, yeah, that wraps it up for now. We've been at it for a long time now.
Yeah,
that was definitely a great race. Also, be sure to check out tomorrow, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, where we have action all through the week in Tier 3, Tier 2, Tier 1 and 2S, Tier 2 and Tier 1. Yeah, for me, that's it. Yep.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank everybody in the chat for keeping it all lively. I haven't looked at it in a while. I don't know if anybody else has said anything, but yeah, Dragon has managed to win BOTD as well. So congrats, to Dragon.
Congrats to Dragon.
But yeah, great race for us. It was entertaining for me, definitely. But until tomorrow, where I'll be racing in Tier 3. Goodbye.
Goodbye.